Hey everybody, this is American Idol Unaired. I'm your host, Bennett Shear. Today we have another aired exception for you, a singer that you did see on American Idol from season 20. Please welcome Skyler.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really excited to meet you. It was awesome seeing you on the season of Idol. I know we only got to see your audition. We didn't get to see much of what happened actually after the audition round. So this kind of combines the original format of this podcast with the art exceptions. So we're going to find out a lot of what we didn't really see on American Idol, which I'm excited about. But just to give us a refresher, Skylar, I would love if you could remind us who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit more about your story.
So my name is Skyler Maxey Wirt. Um, I am 26, and I'm currently living in Dresden, Germany. I'm a professional ballet dancer, and I've been here for this is my ninth year, starting my ninth season with the Semper Opera Ballet. And I'm originally from Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And American Idol came about because I guess it was last year or two. Yeah, I guess last year. I just started kind of posting some covers on social media, and I always knew I kind of wanted to do something with singing, but I never had any real like training, and I was on my kind of dance path for so long that I never really kind of deferred from it, and I just thought like why don't I just post some covers and see what happens. And actually, Brandon Boyd, who's from the band Incubus, he saw some of my covers on Instagram, and he contacted me, and he asked if I wanted to do something with my voice because he thought I was talented. And he was I think they call it like a mentor, guest mentor or something like that on the show on the prior season.
Yes.
And so he asked me if American Idol would be something that I would be interested in, and I was like, sure. So I just did it, and yeah, I just kind of went from there. I got a I guess audition through Zoom with the producers, and then I was on the show.
Wow. Starting out in dance, I'm sure that you never expected to also add something to your plate, and at the same time, is there a similar feeling that you get from expressing yourself musically by singing?
Yeah, definitely. I think also with American Idol, my first audition was kind of like the biggest, like let's say, performance I've ever done with singing, really. So I think in that moment it was kind of, I would compare it to like to dancing on stage. The only difference was that with dance I have like a lifetime of preparation. With like singing in front of like those judges, I was just so nervous because um it's just something I've never really done before. But I think they're both kind of like two sides of the same coin. It's a performing art. It's just a different medium, but it all kind of comes from the same place, I think.
I am a little bit curious about your background in dance because obviously I know a lot less about that world than I do about the music world, but it's a big part of your life. And so, where did you
Yeah.
start? Why did you become passionate about dance?
Yeah. So I had pretty like artistic parents, and when I was little, like 5 or 6 or something, I they put me in dance class at a little like Lancaster School of Ballet, and it just kind of stuck for whatever reason. I really liked it, and when I also did other types, not just ballet, I did other types of dance, and I also did capoeira, it's a Brazilian martial arts that my whole family kind of is involved with also. Um, but when I was 13, I these two like retired principal dancers that used to dance with the Joffrey Ballet, they came to Pennsylvania, and I got these like kind of private lessons from them during the summer. And Paul Sutherland, the man, their names are Paul Sutherland and Bruni Ruiz. And Paul said that if I wanted to make it in the dance world, I had to kind of like leave Lancaster and go to New York and go to like a big ballet school. So that's what I did. And at 13, I left home and I went to join the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis School of American Ballet Theater. It's a mouthful. And and from there, I was in the school for 5 years altogether. And then at 18, I got a job here in Dresden, and then I moved to Germany. So it was just kind of happened. Yeah.
Wow, what is it like at 13 to make such a big transition? I mean, obviously, at any age, we sometimes have to move away. A parent gets a job, but you're the one who got this opportunity at this young age to
Yeah,
go to the Big Apple. I mean, what does it feel like to know that kind of you're the reason you're getting this big opportunity at a young age?
yeah. It was cool. It was terrifying actually. I remember when my first night. Luckily, we had a friend of the family, very close friend of the family, who lived in New York, and I lived with her for like my first year and a half. So it wasn't like was with like complete strangers or anything. Um, but I remember my first night just like laying in bed and like crying because I was like I left my family, and I don't know. It's a young age to just kind of leave and start everything new. And I was like, um, what if it's not the right decision, or what if I don't actually want to dance, or whatever goes through your mind. And I think once I got into the swing of things and school started, and I kind of realized that this is where I needed to be,
Hmm.
if I wanted to have like a career in this, which I did. So that was difficult. I think um, I mean, I developed a pretty good like group of friends at school, and I think that helped a lot. And I liked New York, so that also helped. But it was definitely kind of terrifying at first.
Having built a career in one area and then kind of diving into something else with singing. At first, when you realize that you were onto something with the covers and you have Brandon Boyd reaching out, you go on Idol, is there kind of a little bit of stress about, oh, what happens if this really becomes something that I want to spend more time doing and then I have to juggle these two things, or maybe I do have to choose at some point?
Absolutely, that's a really good question because that was something that I was really kind of nervous about because I never had the intention of like leaving the dance world really when I went to American Idol. But at the same time, I was like, what if something does come of it, or what if I get some kind of offer or whatever, anything could happen, and then I would be faced with kind of having to choose. So my mindset kind of when I went into it was um, I just wanted to gain the experience, whatever it was. I didn't want to leave my like profession, and I wanted to just kind of like show myself as I am, and just not kind of think of proving myself to anyone, just kind of like be myself. And I think I accomplished that. And I think the biggest thing I got from it was kind of I guess, confidence that I maybe could really do something with singing if I wanted to. But I think now I can do it, on my terms and when it fits into my job that I have now. And,
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is all about timing, and I think that, I mean,
yeah,
so many of the most successful entertainers go from one thing to another. I know J-Lo, she's a singer, she's an actress, she's a dancer, and
yeah, yeah,
Lady Gaga. Think about Lady Gaga, who spent so many years as a singer and who has devoted most of her time in the last couple of years to acting, and you just never know what opportunities are going to come about. And I feel like that's what's so exciting about being a performer, and for you, having had this passion for a long time and having multiple sets of skills, you just never
hmm
know.
yeah, exactly. So I think, I'm still very much, still in the company here and everything, and still on a certain path, but I have kind of opened up my mind a little bit to like possibilities, which is cool because sometimes you never know how they're going to happen. I never expected to be on American Idol, but all of a sudden I was there. So yeah, it's good to stay
Right.
open, I think.
So when Brandon reached out to you, I know that was obviously a fast pass as far as like you didn't have to wait in like the kind of initial casting call, and of course it's all virtual, but did you go right to the executive producers? Did you still have a couple of rounds to do as far as auditions went before the judges?
I had like a Zoom meeting directly with a producer, and I think I all I had to do was like sing like one song, and that was kind of it. I think, yeah, because Brandon kind of recommended me. I didn't have to do like a big kind of cattle call kind of situation, which was nice. Which also would have been probably difficult being so far away anyway. I guess it was all by Zoom
Yeah,
anyway. So, but yeah, I think he definitely helped kind of like speed up the process
for
a
sure.
little bit.
And that must have felt pretty nice too, because I almost wonder, given how busy you were with dance, if if it hadn't been for somebody reaching out and saying to you, "Hey, let me put you on American Idol," do you think that you would have yourself applied for the show?
No, 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 not at all. Actually, when he suggested it, my immediate reaction was no. In my mind, I was like, oh no way, like and then I kind of talked about it with my boyfriend and some friends, and I came to the conclusion that it's, whatever happens, it's definitely an experience that, not a lot of people would just kind of have fall into their laps, kind of, you know what I
Right.
mean? So I should really take it. Um, but initially I kind of, yeah, if it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't have reached out to American Idol.
Had you watched the show?
I watched it like the very like early seasons, like
Uh-huh.
Fantasia and like back then. But the more recent seasons, I didn't really watch any. So when I got like the offer, I went back and kind of watched
Right.
the videos and stuff. But it's also hard to watch now in Germany because it's not, you can't really find it online anywhere.
Right.
So yeah, I went back and watched some old videos that I could find. But yeah, definitely.
Uh-huh. Just as a side note, were you ever a fan of So You Think You Can Dance?
I was when I was younger.
Yeah, I really like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
show.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because I felt like it brought a lot of it brought dance to like an audience that normally wouldn't see it,
Right.
you know, which was really cool. Yeah, I used to be really into it when I was younger.
What I realize is you don't have to be a dance expert to be moved by a routine, and you
Yeah,
watch it and I mean you do learn about dance because you learn what different styles are, and when the judges speak or the choreographers speak, you can kind of learn new terms. But I find it really entertaining, and I find myself really engaged in the performances, and I find myself invested in the dancers the same way that I do with the singing performances on American Idol, because I think that they're just as exciting, and it really puts dancers up front when a lot of times dancers are in the back. So I just
yeah,
think that it was really cool that there was a time for dancers to be in front.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's true, and I'd say that's especially true for like commercial dance. I know some people like in that world, kind of like in Germany also, and a lot of times you get like music videos and stuff like that, and I can imagine it's also nice for them to be kind of front and center.
Is it kind of like a small world or like a community kind of thing where I don't know if I'd say everybody knows everybody, but like in a sense, you kind of hear even with dancers, like even you think about So You Think You Can Dance, how a lot of those dancers go on Dancing with the Stars, and like even just out of television, there's different auditions for different things, and choreographers kind of know each other and dancers know each other. Do you feel like in the dance world that you have a chance to meet a lot of other people and that it's very connected?
Yes, definitely. Especially, I mean, definitely that, and I would say it's a little bit broken up though with like for example, I'm in a ballet company, so I'm in kind of like the ballet world a little bit. Like the commercial dance world would be like another thing. And there's not often a lot of cross sometimes, but the dance world is definitely small. I mean, I have like friends all over the world in different companies or people that I went to school with or met at a summer program, and now they're dancing it, wherever. So it is
Hmm.
kind of small, and like choreographers all know each other and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's just an art form that I'm really fascinated by because I don't know much about it and I couldn't dance to save my life. But I think that when I watch it, it's really moving because it's just such a unique art form.
Cool. That's cool. Are you a singer, by the way?
Um, I sing for fun. I sang in like my high school band and I've written a couple songs at most, but I'm mostly just a
Okay.
fan of music.
Okay. Cool.
So, what songs did you sing or I don't know if you sang one song or multiple songs, but in the producer round before you made it to the judges?
I sang a song by Donny Hathaway. It was a I think, or was it a John Legend song? I had a couple, and the reason why I forget is because I had to send three songs, and then I sang one to them, and the one song I sang, they kind of like cut me off halfway, and I think it's because I already sent three songs, so it didn't really matter. And one of the songs that I sent, I remember, is "Love Is a Losing Game" from Amy Winehouse, and then another song I think it was "Stay with You" by John Legend.
Did you think that you had it in the bag because you had Brendan Boyd reaching out to you, or was it still surreal to hear that you would actually move on to the live auditions?
It was I don't I figured like I would have a good shot, but I wasn't sure because I mean you don't know until they say it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I thought maybe I had a good shot, and I also like really worked on the songs, and I was, confident and whatever. But but yeah, you never know until that moment where they like give you the golden ticket.
Yeah.
So I was like relieved, I guess. And I was a bit shocked by like their reaction because it was very overwhelmingly kind of like positive. which was great. But yeah, it was I was pleasantly surprised, I guess.
I mean, I can see how there could be some uncertainty just because you were thrust into this without having a career in music. You know what I mean? I mean, not
Yeah,
to mention, I'm really going to be interested in hearing what happened once you got on set because so many people who are there are experienced artists. They've been performing. They were recruited by the show, because of the following that they had because of being musicians, and you were just a dancer who started singing. And so you may have had these thoughts of like, oh, I mean, compared to these people, like I'm so new to this. And I wonder what that was like for you to kind of be in the same
yeah,
competition as those people.
yeah. It was. I definitely felt like a little bit of like an outsider. I have to say, everybody was super nice, like not in a bad way, but I definitely felt like the black sheep, kind of just like here doing like singing my little song, and everybody was so talented, and everybody was like really um, just like really knew what they were doing, and they were like warming up and like had their whole thing, and I felt like such a newbie, so it was kind of scary a little bit. Um, but it was okay. I mean, everybody was, yeah, like really nice, and I felt like again, I just tried to go in with like the idea of like having nothing to prove, and yeah, so it was fine.
Although we still have a lot to uncover about the specific rounds that you were in, I'm wondering overall if you feel like you learned a lot about singing, the actual, element of,
Yeah,
using your voice while you were at American Idol.
definitely. I I learned that when you're nervous, everything just like dries up, and it's really hard to sing. I learned that the hard way, and also just my like I guess capacity, or because I'm not like a trained singer, but the maybe like 2 months before the audition, I worked with a coach on this song, and which is For All We Know from Donny Hathaway, and it kind of got to he kind of raised the level of the song to a point that I didn't really think I could get to by myself. So that kind of I don't know, also kind of raised my confidence as to like in terms of what I could do with singing in the future if I like kept working at it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
Remind me which city you went to for the live auditions.
Nashville.
I know you were the last aired contestant. Technically speaking, they had a post Oscars episode, so not the very last, but on the main Sunday show, you were the last contestant that they showed, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So, and that I remember I think your audition took place at night sometime. I don't know which day you went, but do you remember
Yeah.
which day during the filming
That
process?
was on Monday. It was on a Monday, and it was the last. Yeah, it was the last day. And I think I just flew from Germany on either Thursday or Friday, and they gave me like a full day to kind of like rest and do whatever. And then every day after that, like Saturday and Sunday, it was just kind of like B-roll and filming. And there were two locations. There was the hotel where we were staying, and then everything else was taking place. Like the auditions and everything were like at a different hotel. I remember getting the day of my audition. The call time was like 7 a.m. Monday morning or something, but then I didn't sing till like 9 p.m.
Right.
And the whole day you're kind of, yeah, you're doing like B-roll and doing interviews, and you're not really like resting at any point. Um, so that was kind of nerve wracking because as a dancer, I know what I need to do for a show. I know how I need to warm up and like how early I have to be, and things like that. But for this, I was kind of like, okay, like just keep doing my vocal warm ups and keep drinking tea. And you know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't know. It was kind of, I was just kind of like always waiting around and seeing like what the next thing would be for me to do. And then the audition happened, and it's funny. The first thing I remember when I walked in was, first of all, they're lit like I don't know. They just like gods. They're just like so bright, and there's like light from every angle. So and then Katy Perry's there in the middle with her like giant blue eyes, just like staring at you. So it was kind of scary. Um, but I remember just thinking that I came in with the approach of it being a performance. So I didn't want to feel like I had, yeah, something to prove, or that because that would just make me really nervous. So, and I already was really nervous. So, I just kind of went in thinking like, yeah, I'm going to give them a show and look at them in the eyes and perform for them. And yeah, that's what I did. And that kind of calmed me down a bit. And the way they kind of spoke, they were really kind of comforting in a way. They kind of calmed me down at least.
I know that even though you were aired for that round, of course, most things that get shown when it's not live get cut in some capacity. Do you know if there's anything that wasn't shown from your audition?
Yeah. Oh my God. So this is really embarrassing actually, but I'll tell you. So I was like hoping that they wouldn't just like make me like ask me to dance because I had a feeling it was gonna happen, but I was like no way. I'm like wearing Doc Martens and I'm strapped to a microphone and whatever. So I finished the song and everything was fine. Everything was like going well, and then like Katy Perry stands up and she's like, "Oh, I want to see him dance." So I was like, "Crap." So I kind of panicked because then the pianist starts playing Nutcracker, which I was just talking about how normally I would be in Germany performing the Nutcracker. And I was not wearing anything that I could really dance in. I didn't want to jump. I had the microphone. So I like walked forward and I said like, "Oh, I'll do like a little pirouette." And I do like one very simple little pirouette. And then I go to do it on the other side and I like fell over. And,
Oh.
and I kind of stumbled. And then I said something like, "Oh, like that was really bad," but like ended a smile. And I like gave her a cheeky smile. And I was so stressed that they were going to show this like me falling out of a pirouette right after saying like, "Oh, he's a ballet dancer," and like all this stuff. And they cut it actually from the final edit.
Uh-huh.
So I was so relieved. I was like, first of all, so mad at myself for like choosing to do like a stupid pirouette. And then, but they only kept one, which is like the good side. So that's something that was kind of funny. When I came back to Germany, I told all my friends about it and they were like, "You idiot, why did you do that on TV?" I was like, "I don't know, I got nervous." But
Oh man.
it was funny. And then afterwards, I think it showed them, they kind of like started dancing with me and like Katy
Right.
Perry like jumped on me. And then so that was kind of funny. There were some parts also of like questions that they asked me that they took out. I don't remember what they were, but yeah, they kept, I guess, all the good parts. So
No, it was definitely a high note to end on. I mean, I'm guessing that like a year before you went on the show, you never would have expected to get on American Idol. So to go from that
nope.
to closing out the auditions at the 20th season must have been pretty surreal.
Yeah, definitely. Super surreal. I never, if you asked me before, I mean, before like Brandon Boyd talked to me, I would have never guessed that I would be on American Idol.
Right.
So it was pretty surreal. Yeah.
Even before Hollywood Week, you meet a lot of people. So who did you meet in the auditions that you became friends with?
In the first audition in Nashville, I met Zia. Um, Also, who else? There was Danny, Grace, Tyler, and Louisa, who I think all went to the same school. Danny, I chatted with him a lot during the when I was waiting. A girl named Olivia Faye, I think is her last name. Um, yeah, those are pretty much the ones that I talked to the most in Nashville.
And then in Hollywood Week, you meet a lot more people. So I'm sure that was a chance to really connect with so many more musicians.
Yeah, definitely. Taylor Fagans was really, really cool. I talked to him a lot. Um, who else? I mean, my duet partner. They didn't show the duet. Max Embers. Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, a lot of people. Also, a lot of people whose names I don't remember. There's a lot of us, and it was also quick. It somehow seems like you're there for longer. I don't know on the show, but everything is like a whirlwind, and it's weird to think about. It was only over the course of like a couple of days that the Hollywood week even happened, but and you're so like sleep deprived and like exhausted that
Right.
it's just like poof and then it's gone.
There probably was nothing in your life that could have prepared you for that level of exhaustion, I'm guessing.
Not really. I mean, I even like with dance, I've never so well, like for example, the first round was fine. I was pretty like well rested and whatever. But for the second round of Hollywood Week, the duet rounds, we had to uh the night before we were given our partner and then we had to pick the song, as you know already probably, and then like make the composition and everything. And so me and Max ended up staying up till like 2. And then I think we had to wake up at like 5 for the call time. So we got like no sleep, just like stuff like that. And I've never really been in that situation, like as a dancer, as a performer, where I had to like go on stage after not sleeping, only sleeping for like 2 hours or so.
Right.
It was pretty extreme. Um, but it was a learning experience, I would say.
I know that you felt like a little bit of a fish out of water at first, even just in Nashville being someone who hadn't been as experienced in music, but now that you made it to Hollywood and you were acknowledged as somebody with the ability to sing, did you feel a little bit less nervous and a little bit more like like a little bit more kind of like an insider there? Like how did you feel going
Mhm.
into Hollywood Week in that sense?
Yeah, I did. I think I think after the reaction from the judges during Nashville, that kind of like really boosted my confidence, and I felt like, I felt like I arrived kind of. And then when I got to Hollywood, um, yeah, I mean, there were so many talented singers, but everybody was very like supportive of one another, and to hear like, especially after singing the first round song, I sang "Ready for Love" by India.Arie, and like the other singers' reactions to me and like what they said after I sang and everything was really kind of reaffirming, because everybody was like just so talented. And so I thought like, oh, well, if I'm here and I'm next to these people, then I must be talented as well.
Right.
So that was cool. Yeah.
Which genre did you place yourself in?
So
And who was in your line with you?
I think Taylor, Max, Lexi, Grace. I think there was another guy. I can't remember. I believe we were 9-10. Yeah.
So you guys worked with Haley Reinhart before, correct? When you did
Yes.
the alumni mentoring. How was that for you?
Um, we so I didn't actually like work. We didn't like work as like singing or whatever. But we had like a kind of moment where we spoke together, and that was cool. I remember I knew who she was because when I was younger, I would watch. She had this version of Benny and the Jets that I would just like watch on repeat because I thought it was so amazing. And then like I don't know, meeting her was just really cool. And she we kind of had similar like ideas about soul music, and basically I was telling her that I didn't really know what genre to put myself in, and I said that I put soul because I felt like it was kind of an umbrella term and it could be kind of interpreted in a lot of ways. A lot of things can be soul music, and she was like, she completely agreed with me. And yeah, that was kind of cool to like hear somebody like her kind of agree with me on a point like that. Yeah, it
Right.
was cool.
And remind me the name of the song that you ended up singing for that round?
That was Ready for Love by India.Arie.
Yes. And it sounds like you said there was a pretty great reaction from the crowd, and obviously you moved on from that. So it sounds like you felt
Yes,
pretty good on stage.
I did. One at the lineup, they had some. I think we were one of the only lines that the judges gave like notes to people, because most of the time they just said like you forward and then they cut. But on our line, they spoke to me and maybe one or two other people, and they told me that I my vocal performance was strong, but they wanted more grit,
Mm-hmm.
which I understood, because I was I think it was a good I think the song I performed well, but it was kind of safe, I guess. I guess it's just the nerves and whatever. Um, so it was a good note to have from them. And yeah, then we got through, and that was kind of like it's so nerve wracking, like standing up on the stage, and then they ask like who to go front or back, and you don't know who's going to get cut until they say
Uh-huh.
it, and it's really, yeah, nerve wracking.
I'm
But
sure.
yeah,
Now, you mentioned that you got partnered with Max Embers, who I've heard on
yes,
Instagram, insanely talented.
yeah.
Any specific memories about the rehearsal process or what it was like preparing for that performance?
Yeah, we like clicked right away. I think we're like our vibes were kind of were worked well together, and I remember it was a shame because I really liked, and I think he also really liked the duet that we came up with, and we'll never see it or hear it, because
Right.
if they don't air it, it's just gone. And so like the American Idol verse or whatever. I don't know. It just
Yes.
disappears. And so I have still like some little recordings that we were kind of like listening to it and like playing it back. And but yeah, I just remember how he's just so good at kind of reworking like pop songs to sound really like beautiful or like sound like a ballad or and I just remember like watching him do his thing and I was like, he's this guy is so talented. And I was really happy to be paired with him.
What song did you guys sing?
We sang Somebody That I Used to Know from Gautier.
Oh wow. I'm trying to think if they aired any contestants singing that song because I know that there is a limited pool, but I don't know if anybody that they
Yeah.
showed or a limited pool of songs, but I don't know if anybody that they showed actually sang that song.
Well, they actually said, and like I think there were maybe four, including us, couples that sang this song, three or four. And like every time a couple sang that song, they said how they didn't like it as a choice and how it's not a good like it's a hard song to cover because the original version is what I think Katy Perry said. The original version is so good that it's hard to replicate it. So as that kept happening, it was like three couples before us that had the song. Every time they sang, they would say that, and we were like, "Crap!" Like this is like the song that we chose also.
Oh.
And it was funny because when we came up and we said like, "Hi, I'm Skyler, I'm Max," and we're singing, like you could already see on their faces that they were like disappointed with the song choice, which I find funny, like that they have it on the list then. But I really I don't know. I liked the version that we made, but I don't know how the final product was. It's hard to judge when you're in the moment and you're kind of just like doing your thing, and then you don't get to like, go back and kind of re-listen to it. Um, but it was hard because I didn't really know any of the songs on the list. That even that song I knew from hearing it, but I didn't really know the words. And I think Max knew more songs from the list that I did, but we were kind of limited by my knowledge, I think.
Uh-huh.
So we tried to choose one that we both knew at least a little bit.
Well, what were the judges' critiques?
They were a bit disappointed that so Max is yeah, like I said, he's really great at kind of like reforming songs, and he chose to play the piano while we both sang. And they said that they would have preferred us to have had accompaniment separate, and we would have just been singing the two of us, which I understand because then um, it makes it maybe kind of an uneven situation if you're kind of
Right.
you know. Um, but yeah, they said that they felt like it kind of fell apart a little bit towards the middle, or like there was also at the very beginning, it starts quite low. And even in the rehearsals, I was having a hard time having the same power in the beginning as like in the rest of the song when it was higher. And they kind of noted that a little bit, that it was a bit low. And so I had understood their critiques. Um, but yeah, it's just a shame that we won't be able to hear it.
Well, what was the result of that performance?
Max got through, and then I got cut.
Mm.
That was it. I was happy he got through because he pretty much like um, rearranged the whole song on piano and then played. So and I think they acknowledged that, and like because that's like a big feat to just kind of do in one night. And also the other thing was that so we performed the song quite late in the evening, and you arrive in the hotel. It was quite early, and the whole day we didn't have like a piano to rehearse with. So he made this arrangement the night before. We were up to like 2 in the morning, whatever. Then we go the next day to the theater, and I think we had a stage call for like 30 minutes, and then he got to touch the piano then and try it out. But then for the rest of the day, he couldn't practice. The only thing we could do was like sing a cappella the song together. And so that's what we did. But then when you have the element of the piano and everything, and it's just like, I think if we had better preparation, it would have gone much better. But I was happy he went through, at least one of us. It would have sucked if like we both got cut.
Right.
Because I really liked what we did. It's a shame.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was disappointed, of course, like getting cut isn't a nice feeling, whatever. But because I really liked our arrangement, I was kind of disappointed that I thought maybe it didn't go as well as we intended. You know what I mean? Um, but I have no like regrets on like the song choice or anything. I think it was cool what we did.
I know that they kind of send you on your way right away. They don't waste any time. They're like, all right, you're on a flight. This is it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's not much closure, is it?
It's not, and it's funny because so that night, because it's weird when it's such a small period of time, but I think I don't know if it's just like human nature when you're put into this kind of intense situation, you just like make these connections with people so quickly because you're all in this like weird situation. None of you know each other, so you just become friends for like that moment. And um, I remember after, yeah, I got kicked off. I had to go straight back to the hotel, and then a bunch of us like met in I think it was in Taylor's room after we all just kind of like hung out and chatted or whatever. And Max came to like say bye, and then the next 2 days after that, I think was like the final round, and I wanted to like see it because I wasn't flying back to Germany yet. I was going to be in LA for like a 1 more week or something, but once you're out of competition, you can't like go and watch or you're like
Right.
out, which I understand because, it could get weird if, I don't know, whatever could happen. So it's probably like a security thing.
Yeah.
but yeah, it was kind of a shame. All of a sudden it's just like bam and then gone. And as soon as you're out, they kind of like, you walk out to the corridor and then there's like a camera right there. And it's like, how do you feel? It's like, not great, but like, whatever. I don't know. And then it's like on a bus, bam, and you're back at the hotel. So it is abrupt, but showbiz.
It's yeah, showbiz, and it's been quite a while since you were filming that show. So what have you been up to over the last, gosh, it's been almost a year now. So what's been going on since American Idol for you?
Yes, yeah. So since American Idol, music wise, I got, I guess I developed this because of talking or from talking to so many of the singers there, and also talking to Brandon Boyd, who I even now can still like kind of message and stuff with music and to ask for advice and whatever. And I talked with him a lot about like process and his musical process and stuff, and his kind of like way of writing music. And I used to dabble in songwriting way before American Idol, just like on my own stuff. But I would always kind of sit down and kind of like strenuously write word for word a song, and it would just never. It just always became crap. So after speaking to him and also so many people at American Idol and stuff, I realized to have like, I guess I developed my own kind of idea or way of making music. And so I came back and I just started making stuff. And I got a MacBook, got a little like MIDI keyboard, and just started kind of like playing with stuff. And I've released like 2 songs since then, and I have a lot of stuff in the works. And yeah, I guess the whole experience kind of just made me realize that anybody can just kind of sit down and write music. I guess I was hesitant because I knew what I didn't know. I don't even know a lot of musical terms. I'm not trained in any instruments or whatever. So I always thought like I would have to learn all of this stuff beforehand, and it kind of stunted my like artistic exploration. But now I just kind of go off of my own like taste or what I like, and I just kind of let that guide me. And so that's what I'm doing. But besides that, it's kind of just on the side from my main dancing job. I'm still in Dresden performing like I was before, more now because Corona is like kind of slowly leaving, so which is good.
Yeah.
Theaters are open again.
Yes. Knock on wood. Let's hope it stays that way.
Yes, knock on wood, everything.
I think that's pretty inspiring for anybody who likes music or wants to do music, or even someone like me who you asked me earlier if I sing, and I do it for fun occasionally, but it's like, even if you think, oh, well, I'm not an experienced musician, you can still dabble, you can still write music, and who knows, you may go on to write a very good song. It's like, you don't have to be somebody who's had a record deal or who's been on stage for years. Like, obviously American Idol was this platform for you, and I think that it helped you so
Yeah.
much. But if you want to do it, I think go for it, right?
Right, exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing that with American Idol, things happen in the sense of like, I got a lot of followers or whatever. But I think the biggest thing that I gained from the experience was um, kind of I feel like some doors opened up in my mind to possibilities with music that I didn't really see before. And I think that's kind of the most valuable thing that I got from it, because that is now something that could like take me into the future with music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's cool. I don't know. We'll see where it goes from here. But
Yeah, I mean, because it's like you don't have to be at any particular stage of your career to be on that show. I feel like obviously it's a singing competition. They're not judging how far you've gotten in the music industry.
no,
So, I think that's what's kind of cool about it is that you are allowed to kind of walk in there without much experience, and that's honestly what's kind of magical about it, in my opinion, is that
mhm.
you gain from it, you learn from it, and you grow from it, and because of that show, you're now in a position where you're like, hey, I actually think I still want to do this. And it all started with Brandon reaching out, and then you get on that show, you get the exposure, you get a platform, you meet other musicians, which I'm sure also probably inspires you just being around so much other talent.
Yeah, yeah, and also talking with the other musicians and their kind of journeys with songwriting, and how a lot of them were like, oh yeah, I have like hundreds of songs just like in a notebook. And I always had this idea that you like sit down and you write the perfect song, and then it's just that is what it is. But actually, a lot of that's really not how it is usually. It's like, you write 100 and then maybe you like one or you like two. So I think that kind of freed me up to not be so like finicky and like a perfectionist with everything, and just kind of like create, and then see what comes of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to check your songs out because I'm super excited that you're releasing
Thanks.
music and that there's going to be more to come from you. So, Skylar, where can people go to follow you and to stream your music and to check out anything that you've got going on online?
So I have, yeah, Spotify, Skyler on Spotify. The easiest way is probably through my Instagram, which is Skyler to the max. I have a little linked tree link to my SoundCloud, my Spotify, and also my YouTube page, I believe. So
Very cool. Well, guys, if you enjoyed this conversation, you're not already a subscriber of American Idol Unaired, please hit that subscribe button. If you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you may be listening, you can hit that button. If you're on YouTube, you can hit the button on my channel. Make sure that you leave a review if you're on the listening platforms. You can rate however many stars. You can follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Idol Unaired Podcast. Guys, thank you so much for listening or watching. And Skylar, thank you for being an aired exception on American Idol Unaired.
thank you.